Hey, what's up, everybody? David Kurz here with the Take Action Podcast. Episode 209 brings Yeanli Velez of the Kurz team at eXp Realty. Yes, she's on my team. Yeanli is our official leader in the Miami team. So as you're well aware, our team expands from Miami, Orlando, Tampa, and Northern Virginia. Soon looking to open in New Jersey, Maryland, and DC. Yeanli's come a serious long way with me. And basically, I need to tell her story because, I was thinking about, all right, is this an introduction to Yeanli, or are we just going to, shoot the stuff back and forth, or are we going to just kind of talk about real estate in general? And then I just remembered that phone call I got that said, hey, Dave, I quit my job. I'm going in full time. What's next? And I was like, yeah, that's the kind of shit I like. So Yeanli, welcome to the show, first of all.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing this with me. So, like I said, man, I need you to be true to yourself and true to the crowd because I need to know. So, you used to work for the city, for one of the municipalities here in Miami.
Yes.
And what happened, dude?
So, I used to do code compliance.
That's fun. I mean, that's exciting. That's like similar to real estate, right? You go house to house.
Yeah, code compliance and real estate, it's pretty similar. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're going place to place, getting rejected basically by people or helping people out, one or the other. But you get a lot of things. I honestly, it was okay. I had just finished my master's, so I do have my master's in real estate. And I had just finished and I was doing code compliance and I felt stuck, to be very honest. I felt like I wasn't going anywhere. And I had finished the real estate exam last year. I just, did my first listing and I was like, I fell in love. Like that first listing, then the second buy. And it was just within my first month. I think I had like three transactions going on. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm quitting the government. I'm doing this full time. I love this. This is it.
Which is kind of cool because, all right, so let's be realistic. You had the typical realtor situation, which is your first deal typically comes from within your inner circle. Tell us about how that came about.
So it was my cousin. So my first transaction was with my cousin. I just told her, hey, look, I passed the test, let me help you sell your house. And she's like, oh, are you sure about this? And I was like, I got this. I met this guy. He's my business partner. I mean, he seems pretty cool. He's been doing this for years. And she's like, okay, I trust you. And that's how we did it. And then since then, it's been like wildfire. Like, honestly, this last year has been wildfire. Like,
how crazy is that, right?
Honestly, I mean, I hear from a lot of people that in your first year, you're not going to have transactions or you're going to get the one-off. Right. But last year, I mean, I took 5-6 months off last year because I had a baby as well. And I still did almost 1.9 in transactions, $1.9 million worth of transactions. So I was still like back to back on fire, getting it. Like I had listings from random people. It was just talking to people and letting people know about my business and who I am and how I'm going to represent them and stuff like that.
Right. And so let me ask you this. You go to work. Did you like your job?
Honestly, it was okay.
Yeah.
You like it. The check was good. It felt safe. That's one thing.
I like that. I like that. It felt safe. Right?
Yeah, it felt safe. That's why, if I would have done it, I would have done it for the safety reason. It had insurance, it had the benefits, the retirement. And as we all know, with real estate, it's not safe. It's a gamble. Each transaction, until you get your buyer or seller to sign at the closing table, you're kind of just like risking it, and it'll take 35, 45 days, sometimes more to close a deal.
Right.
So for me, I was like, yes, pros, I like the safety. Cons, I don't like my job. I didn't like it.
So let's tap on this. You were safe. It's not that you liked the job, but you knew that if you woke up in the morning, you went to work, there would be a paycheck every 2 weeks, and you had benefits. You had 401k.
Oh yeah.
You had Medicaid, Medicare, medical, right? You had all that good stuff. And then you dropped all of that And
Yeah.
so you and you know, it's funny, like you may not even know this, but you and I have very similar stories. But you dropped all of this to come real estate full time. What makes you want it? So you got a husband at home. You got he's about to go through the police academy.
Yeah.
You got kid at home. Like, what makes you take that risk?
The love. Honestly, it's like a love for the business. Like it's work, but I love what I do. Like I love waking up every single morning like, yo, let me check my emails, let me talk to these people, let me get someone a home. That's what it is. It's this feeling that I get when I find somebody a house and I say, here's the keys to your home. When I'm handing that over and I'm showing them like this is your own investment, teaching them how they can grow within the home, how they can refi later on, just educating people. Like it's completely different. And I was like, that's for me what did it, the fact that I am helping someone versus just saying, here's your fine. Or
Yeah.
you owe the government money. Now I'm like, okay, let me give you some of my experience working with the government and teach you how to keep your home. So like if the house is in a certain municipality where there's different codes or regulation or whatever the case may be, or different zoning, I know how to explain that to not only my buyers, my sellers, my investors, corporate clients. It's not just a one fit all for me. I have the opportunity to work with a different medley of clients.
All right. So now you have a love for the business, but they say love triumphs all, and so forth and so on. I still want to dig deeper. Like, besides the love for the business, because I love ice cream.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But that don't mean I'm gonna quit real estate and go start selling ice cream.
that's true.
Like there has to and look, maybe I'm just digging too far, but there has to be something deeper that makes you go, I'm gonna let go of medical, I'm gonna let go of dental, I'm gonna stop my 401k, and I'm a risk the probability of paying my rent or mortgage next month.
So that's an easy answer, and it's a simplified answer. But it's my freedom. That's one thing I can't get back. Like working for myself, yes, it's difficult. And granted, some days I'm working 12, 14 hours a day. Some days I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take the day off and I'm gonna spend it with my kids. And as long as I'm working and I'm constantly, assisting people, I'm going to get a check. The money's going to be there regardless in this business. That's one thing I learned. You have to hustle to get the money. There's always money. But how you continue the business is that gives you that freedom. So I can bring people on my downline. I can not only sell the houses, get people to buy houses, but it's the education that's bringing me money. There's multiple ways to make money in this business, and it gives me the freedom to do what I want. That's what I love about it.
Right. So, all right. So now you're in the business, and I want to compare something, because earlier today you just said two things, and a lot of people may or may not realize this, right? But you said two things. You said, first of all, I want to talk about your 12-hour days, and then like your potential days off that you could take off. Like, what's that ratio? Because it ain't 50-50, right?
No.
So, like, for every how many days do you work 12-hour days that you're allowing yourself to take a day with the kids? So like, be realistic. It's all good. Like, everybody's different, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'll probably do 8-9 days where I'm working 12, 13 hours just because it's an addiction to me. Like,
Right.
If I'm not on the phone, if I'm not like emailing someone or doing some showings, like I get anxious.
Right.
So for me, it's like honestly 8, 9, 10 days where I'm like working those full hours, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm good. And I'll take 2 days where I'm like, okay, this is family time. This is the weekend for the kids.
All right. So let's do 9 days times 12-hour days. That's 108 hours before you allow yourself to take 24 hours of rest time. Right.
Mhm.
And so I need people to hear that, because many people are taking rest days after 40-hour work weeks, right? At 9 to 5, right? And so I need people to understand that, because you did say something that could mislead people. You could mislead people by saying, I get to take a day off whenever I want. They don't realize that that day off comes with, it's a prize for the amount of work that you put in already, right? It's like you made up the hours. Like, you did 40 hours, I did 100 hours. So I'm going to give myself a day off while you take 2 days off and go work your next 40, right? And
Exactly.
no, look, listen, this podcast, in no disrespect to the 9 to 5 person, like, I think everybody has a place on this planet. Not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. I've looked at people straight in the face and said, I can't coach you. I can't be your coach because I don't think real estate's for you. And that's okay. That's okay. And I could help maybe coach them in finding what their real passion in life is. You obviously have a passion for this business. And more importantly, what I hear is that you have a passion for people, right? And helping them achieve their goals. So now I want to tap on something else, because you said something. You said, as long as I consistently call my clients and I consistently stay on the business, I'm going to get a paycheck, right?
Exactly.
And in the beginning of this phone call, we said you felt safe with going to work every day because you knew that if you went to work, you would get a paycheck. Isn't that the same thing?
No.
Right? I mean, think about it. If you got up today and you went to work, as long as it was purposeful work,
yeah,
it's going to lead to a paycheck.
Eventually, yeah, you'll get the paycheck.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. You have to be about it.
Right, because the problem is that a lot of real estate agents wake up in the morning, they do about 15 other things than work on their business, right?
Exactly.
And so if you don't work on your business, guess what you're doing? You're working in your business, right?
Yeah.
You're working for yourself instead of building something for yourself, And I think, you and I have had several conversations along those lines, and there's a big reason why, and look, guys, I need you to hear this. Like, Yeanli helps me run my Miami business. Okay. And Jeannie's my partner out here. Jeannie and I sat down and said, Yeanli's the one. She's going to run the Miami business. And we sat down, we spoke to her. How long have you been a realtor?
1 year. Yeah.
Right. And so sometimes it's not about, all the experience in the world, because the one thing that Yeanli knows is that she can call me or Jeannie and ask her questions. But with the amount of business that Yeanli has done, she's got more experience under her belt than most real estate professionals that have been in the business for 3 years. Yes. And not only, see, people forget this. When you love and coach, and I have to say love, because you can't lead if you don't love. Like, that's just, if you got no love for people and you can't tolerate people, then you cannot lead. It's not a possibility. You have to love the people that you're leading so that you're helping them grow in their businesses. You treat them like business partners and not subordinates, right? And so when you love and lead, you learn, right? It's an opportunity, because not only are you learning from the deals that you do on a daily basis, but you're also learning from the deals that you're helping other agents get through in the business, which is quadrupling the amount of experience that you're putting on your plate.
Absolutely. And you never know when you're going to be on the other side of the table with you. That's another thing. Like, you'll start a transaction with someone, or you start training someone, and down the line, especially in this business, like I've encountered it so many times, you're going to meet the same people over and over and over again. So it's about, hey, I'm teaching you, you're teaching me. We're all going to learn from each other, because at the end of the day, this is a business that's very tricky and you can get sued so fast.
Yeah.
So the goal is to avoid that. Like, for me, like, I'm very grateful, like, that I partnered up with you and Jeannie. Like, just being part of the Kurz team alone, for me, just grew my business exponentially. Like, when I first met you, like, I want to say this last year, I didn't know who the hell you were. You could tell that to anyone. Like, I sat across the table from you and I said, let's talk money. Don't talk BS to me.
I remember that conversation. And then, hopefully you went home that night, Googled me, and found out you were going to be in some good hands.
I was just like, it wasn't even like Googling or like any of it. It was just the way you said something that stuck to me from day one. And that's because I've met with the big boys, like you know this, like, and a lot of people won't know this, but I met with Keller Williams. I met with, Douglas Elliman agents and all these big guys, and even, Canva Realty or whatever the case may be. It didn't work for me. Like for me, I don't need the hand holding so much, but I need somebody that's like, hey, I have a question. Can you help me out? Or teach me, like Socratic method. Like at the end of the day, I wanted to be an attorney.
Yeah.
So it's like there's only so much like you're gonna be hand holding with me. But it's the one thing that you said, it's like, don't fall in love with the money. The money's gonna come. And that's
Always.
always stuck with me. It's
Always.
learn the business. Okay. Once you learn the business, you're always gonna succeed. Like one year, last year when I met you, I said, I'm gonna be your team leader. You said, yeah, okay.
You did call it. You
I
did
called
call it.
it. I
But
called
but in retrospect, it wasn't that you said that made me want to put you in that position. It was that you worked for it, you know?
exactly.
And that makes all the difference in the world, that you work for your positions in life. You know, that you put yourself in position, that you know who you are, you present yourself accordingly, but you put in the work, right? And you understand, look, I understand I'm no better than anybody else, right? Like I know that I have more experience than a lot of people. I've been doing this a long time, but I'm no better than anybody else. I can learn from anybody.
Exactly.
You know, I can learn from anybody. So, and I think that adapting that nature and being able to, you know, coach with you and help you grow, and then see you put in your part, because that's look, honestly, that's the real win right there, right? You know, you could leave me and go coach with freaking I don't know, man, just whoever's top of the Tony Robbins. You know what I mean? You can go coach life and world and real estate and investment with Tony Robbins, and he could sit there and burn his breath telling you what to do. But if you don't put in the work, you're not going to make it.
Exactly.
You're not
No,
going to make it.
mm-mm. You have to learn the business at the end of the day. And that's one thing that I'm grateful for, that I like. I don't know, like it's very few things and transactions that I haven't experienced. Like I've dealt with the crazies, I've dealt with the most sane of people. You know, I've had so many different experiences in this business.
Yeah.
And I'm like in this 1 year, and I'm like, okay, now I have to think bigger. And that's something that I like. Like, okay, I'm here as a team leader, but where do I see myself in the next 5 years? And that's
Right.
and the next thing, like I'm shifting my mindset. Okay, year one, great. Like, let's make a book about this. Like what I learned in my first year, what can I teach other people in the first year? But now, 5 years from now, what am I gonna have? Like, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm building, you know?
I'll tell you, you know, you've heard me say this before, and I'll say it again. And I've said it so many times on this show that if I could turn back time, I would have found a me. You know, I would have found a team leader who's, you know, willing to put in the work. I would have found the genie, you know,
Oh yeah.
and many other great team leaders out there. I would have found somebody who would be willing to pick up my phone call, and I would have spent 3 to 4 years with them, you know,
Just
because yeah, because I think too many people in this industry, they think they're gonna get rich right away, and it just doesn't happen that way. You can't. You're not gonna end up on $1 Million Listing New York on your first
selling
6 months,
Tampa.
right?
Yeah.
Like chill, folks. You know. So, and listen, if you could take 3 to 4 years, like I joke about it all the time. I say I would spend the first year just making that motherfucker's coffee, right? Taking his car to get washed, picking up his laundry, you know, picking up his kids from school, whatever you need, as long as I learn this industry, as long as I learn this business. If I could turn back time, I would do that. I really would, man. You know, and I had just come out the Marine Corps, it would have been prime opportunity for me to be able to absorb the hell out of that, you know? And I tell people all the time, I'm very grateful and very proud of myself for where I am today, because you got to love yourself, right? That's
Oh
number
yeah.
one. But I'm very proud of where I am today. However, I know that had I done that, had I given 36 to 48 months to someone else and learned so much, I would have crashed into less walls. The
Yep.
ceilings would have been glass versus metal. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have had to weld my way out of a room. I would have just been able to walk out of it. It's just very different. And all of those are, you know, symbolisms for the fact that if I would have spent, you know, 3 to 4 years just learning, man, the next 10 years would have been out of
It
control.
would have been cake. And I know, like I talk to a lot of agents just because of the business. A lot of people are like, why are you there? Like, you know the business, you know what you're doing, just go off by yourself. It's so simple to go solo. It's so easy. You know, yeah, the check is bigger, but it's more than that. Okay. Going solo is, granted, you have to have all the paperwork that goes in with the transaction. Now you have to put money into your lead generation system. You have to have your own spear. You don't really get the support system. Like there's days where I'm just like, okay, look, I don't want to handle this. I want to just take a step back and breathe. There are days where I have that. And I'm like, hey, I'll leverage my team. Hey, can you go do this showing for me? Or can you talk to this agent because maybe I'm not expressing myself correctly. And it happens. There's times where I get so invested for my clients where I want to tell the agent, hey, yo, go fuck off.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm like, let me take a step back. Let somebody else explain what I'm explaining. And it happens so often that I'm like, that's what I have within the team. Like for me, granted, 5 years, 10 years, who knows where I'm down the line. I'll be sitting in your seat interviewing someone else under Kurz.
Yeah. And so let me tap on something real quick because we're already at 21 minutes and I usually try to keep these between 18 and 20 minutes, but we're having way too much fun. But I don't want to forget my major questions. Okay. So major question number one, which I ask all my guests, what has been your biggest hiccup and how did you get past it?
Biggest hiccup for me, honest to God, it's just been my temper. How do I get past it? Like I go back to leveraging my team. Honestly, like I said, I know that I'm so used to this is what it is, get it done. That's not real estate whatsoever. It's too many hands within the pot and trying to get all these people to coordinate just to get, a happy seller and a happy buyer.
Yeah.
So I just, I have people that will back me up when I have those kinds of issues and how to talk to even difficult clients. Like I'll take a step back when I know I have to.
Man, I want to say something real quick for everyone listening right now. That's probably the most grown up answer I've heard in a long time. And I don't mean like grown up, like yay, grown up. I mean, like just it's a mature answer because most people come on the podcast and when I ask that question, they think of an incident, right? And they go, oh man, there was this one time that ABC happened and I surpassed it by applying XYZ, And you just basically came out and told all our listeners that your biggest hiccup is self-development.
Oh, yeah.
And that's huge, man. Congratulations to you for recognizing that, first of all. And second of all, I'm looking forward to the next few years. I mean, I'm really excited to see your growth. I'm really excited to see what happens. We love having you as a part of the family. And I really appreciate you doing the show with me. I know you were very reluctant about it. Look, I want y'all to know sometimes you got to push people that you want to help grow. I sent this link to Yeanli in the group a couple of times. I saw that she never signed up, so I just signed her up, right? So and if there's one thing I know is that if she receives a calendar invite for this, she's not going to back down. So I appreciate you doing the show with me. I appreciate you doing the show with me, and more than anything, I appreciate you being true to you, and telling the world what's up. If you had to give a brand new agent any piece of advice coming into the industry, what would it be?
Hire a coach or mentor, partner with somebody. Just don't think you're gonna get the business off bat. Watch out with like the people that are selling you smoke and mirrors, like muddle through it, but definitely get a coach. This business is way too tricky, and to lose your license over something stupid is not worth it.
Right. 100%. Well, dude, you just got a rock star post on social media right there.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so everybody watching and listening right now, I want to thank you and appreciate you for always tuning in to the Take Action Podcast. Our podcast has grown tremendously over the last year. We're 25 minutes in on episode 209. Now, we are making a shift very soon on this podcast, where this podcast usually launched once a week. We're going to take this podcast and launch it 3 times a week beginning in March. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to bring a lot of great people to the table. And I just think we're just going to have a shitload of fun. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because if you don't, you won't know when we're live and you won't know what's happening. Talk to y'all soon.
Bye.